To have fun. I hope you all had a great time today. Did you have a good time? I'd love to hear that. This is definitely a great success, not only for Team Women Riding Well. We've worked really hard to put this event on, wanting to make it a good, fun event. And all of the volunteers and sponsors and people who have helped this be possible, we're very, very thankful. And we want to see all of you ladies out for more TTs and more participation in women's cycling, because women rock. Absolutely. And we wouldn't be rocking nearly as well if it wasn't for all the men behind us. We know that. So here's to the guys behind us. So anyway, we wanted to have, here in New Mexico, we have the National Time Trial Champion, and when was it? August? In September. Mindy Caruso lives here in Albuquerque, and I know some of you have read about her, and she sent a bio. I have to tell you just real quick. I said, just send me some stuff, and she said, well, it's probably a little bit long. You can edit out what you want. Well, I didn't want to edit anything. It was all awesome. And we've got, if you haven't seen it, we printed them all out and stapled your bio. They're all up on the table there at the registration, because it is awesome. When you take a look at the races, I mean, it's pages of races that she's done. But the really cool thing is the part about, I go out running with my dog Daisy, and I started out, my mom teaching me how to sew, and I played piano, and like all that stuff that it's like, she's normal, she's normal, she's like us, how wonderful. And so I just really wanted you guys to know that yes, it is possible for anybody to increase their cycling dreams, and we have ways of doing it, and Mindy's going to share some of her really good tips about time trialing and racing and all of that. But before we do that, I'm going to open your card, because inside this card is something that everybody, all the rest of the racers got one of these, but this is a very special one for you. So this is a necklace for you, and for those of you for the guys, or maybe those of you that haven't seen it, it says never give up. And I know that some of you on that hill coming into the headwind are like going, oh, don't give up, don't give up. And I'm sure you've probably said that too, Mindy, but I'll let you open that and read that later on. But that is from all of us. Thank you so much for being here and supporting us at the start and finish line. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mindy right now and let her share with you some of the things that she wants to share with you, and then we'll have a couple of questions, and then open it up to question and answers if she hasn't answered everything you want to know. So, Mindy, it's all yours.
All right, well, thanks for everyone coming out here today. This is a great venue, great day to come out and race for your first time. So I thought I would start off just really personal. First of all, don't wear underwear. Okay? First. As you might have learned the hard way, or still learning, as I can remember, cotton chafing is not that much fun. So, and then on that note, once you get past the getting of the underwear, I was going to show you what I use to keep things nice and comfortable. All right, so two of my favorite products is a chamois butter, and I like this particularly for time trialing because you stay in that same position for so long. Now, riding a road bike, you move around, mountain bike, you move around a lot. But for riding in a time trial, the least you move, the better. You just don't want to keep moving. The other thing I use is this Lady Anti-Monkey Butt powder. So I
You gotta say that over again.
Lady Anti-Monkey Butt powder. It's great stuff. Hard to find here locally, but you can find it on, unfortunately, Amazon, which I know nice to buy locally, but maybe someone will start carrying it here. Anyways, those are two little personal tidbits there to start off with.
Important, very important. We got to cover the most important ends first, right?
Yes. If you're not comfortable in the saddle, nothing else will be comfortable either. So.
Absolutely. It's the good things to know. You got to start from the bottom up, so to speak.
Okay. Regular shoes, whatever you wear, whatever cleats you're comfortable with. But the other thing that makes a big difference in a time trial, and I know that time trial equipment can be very expensive, but there's a few things you can buy that's not that expensive that can make a big difference. And one of the biggest things here are shoe covers. They're like $12, but they buy you multiple seconds in a time trial. Plus, they just look cool. They make you go faster because you look cool. So, recommend those. The other thing, which maybe doesn't make quite as much difference, but they are comfortable and nice to wear and kind of just go with the whole thing. There's our special time trial gloves. Keep everything nice and smooth. And I do not wear a watch. I mean, every little bump and crevice, is more something else to slip through the wind, and you really don't want that. So this keeps things nice and smooth. And grip for the bars when you have to get out of your TT bars and give you grip for leverage. And then, as most of you know, the time trial helmet. And it's good to know, not every time trial helmet is good this time trial helmet may be good for me, but it may not be good for each individual. So you might want to try a few out there or borrow some and see which ones actually work for you. Another little trick I do, depending on the temperature, to save some time, is I tape off my vents. If it's a colder, like my last time trial I did, it was about 38 degrees at the start, and so there's no reason to have ventilation in that temperature. So we might as well make this helmet faster with a little bit of electrical tape. So there's one little tidbit. The other thing is I just try and keep it simple. I do the same thing every single time. I don't want to have to think. The next thing to make you go fast, those numbers flapping in the wind. Not good, right? So the other thing, I'm sure there's other manufacturers, but I use the Super 77 because that sounds fast and it works well. And it's multi-purpose adhesive. So it makes the bib a little less breathable, but it sticks to it. Here locally, I think they do want you to use pins in addition to that, but you don't need as many pins. But anyways, that's one other little trick.
Where did you get it?
What was that?
Where did you get it?
Home Depot. Yeah, Home Depot. Yeah. The Super, yeah. The Super. 'Cause I tried the, I think it was like lightweight or easy tack or something. That doesn't work well. It just comes right off and they blow off in a race. But, like recently at Iron Horse, everybody's bibs were tearing because of the wind and the material that they used to print the numbers on. My bib lasted 3 days without a tear with this. So it's a pretty good product.
Oh, look, in fine print it says we'll make your TT time faster.
All right. The next little trick. As you can see here, we have the bike set up with a disc wheel. Now these can be kind of expensive, but you can do a little inexpensive thing. And here at most of the races, this is legal to do. At some of the bigger races, they don't pass UCI regulations, but $80, pair of disc covers. They just bolt on around your regular wheel that you use. It's pretty simple, and there was a few out here today. So I saw Joanna Eckstein. She's pimped hers up pretty nice and makes it look really fast. Kind of gives you that dizzy look though afterwards the way it's going. Yeah. But anyways, that's one thing you guys can think of too. That really makes a huge difference aerodynamically. I think that's about it of my little tricks. Warm up. Everybody has their own warm up. I don't have any. I have something that I'm very particular with. It works for me. It may not work for anybody else. There's not really a set thing. Kind of depends a little on temperature conditions. So I'll just go a little into that. But you just have to kind of get in tune with your body and see what warms up your engine.
All right. Well, those are all really great tips, and you know, there's something about starting off, and you think, well, I don't have a fancy bike like this, and I can't really see myself buying one. But all of these things can help. And then once you get so good that you go, well, now I have to buy a time trial bike. Then, of course, you know, we'll probably have that as another clinic where you can do a whole other thing on that. Well, I have had several people ask me about your skin suit. And can you tell us about where you got it and what that means when you wear that?
Volet, or as my husband says, Voler. Yeah, you know, once you accomplish a national championship, they make sure that, you know, it's legit before they actually sell it to you. But anyways, they sell it to you, and then fortunately I have some seamstress skills because it needs a lot of altering.
You have a tiny body.
Yeah, it must be shaped a little different too, because certain areas fit fine and certain areas need 6 inches taken out of them. 2 inches out of each arm. I know they're kind of needly, but that seems kind of silly to me. But anyways,
it seems to work for you.
It seems to work. I'm getting better at altering all my suits. It's just kind of time consuming.
Now, is that something that only you can wear? When you win a national championship, is there a jersey or something that only you're allowed to wear?
I can only wear this during the year that I'm the current championship, only in this discipline. So I can't wear, you know, the red, white, and blue jersey top for a road race or a crit. I can just wear this in a time trial for this year.
That's awesome. That's great. Next year will be different. So I did a quick little email to some of the ladies, and some ladies just said, hey, will you ask Mindy this? Will you ask Mindy that? So here's a couple of questions. While you were down at the start-finish line, what was it like to be down there versus on your bike and riding?
No stress. No, it was fun. You know, I'm really impressed with everyone coming out. I remember my very first bike race, and I know how stressful that is. And it wasn't in quite a positive atmosphere as we have here today. This is really quite a treat for everyone. So I'm glad you guys took advantage of that. But, you know, I was just impressed with so many people. I asked, is this your first race? Yes, I'm so nervous and my tummy hurts. I mean, that was kind of a common thing. But, you know, to come over and overcome those fears and come out and do your first race, it's pretty impressive to me. Everybody deserves a red, white, and blue today.
Absolutely, I think so. Absolutely. So, since you were out there and you were watching it, just a little feedback, maybe something that made you smile out there that you saw, something that maybe raised your eyebrows, like, maybe they should know a little something. They shouldn't do that, or they should do that. Any tips that you can give them, things that you saw?
Well, you know, just have confidence in the start of having, I know a lot of you guys were really timid about having someone hold your bike for you, and that's like cheating. I mean, if someone's offering to hold your bike, take advantage of it. And most of you saw once you did it, it was easy. No problems there. So, you know, just have that confidence that that's, you know, the way to go. And then, you know, just be cognizant of your gears you start in. You know, considering that was a slight uphill, you know, when you're having to start from a dead stop, even though you maybe rolled over there in that gear, that worked out pretty well. When you start from a dead start, that's a little different. And so I made that mistake at Iron Horse this year. Way too big of a gear, and it took me a while to get it spinning. You know, I probably lost 4 or 5 seconds just because I did not take one last look at my gearing. So that'd be one last thing, but mostly just have fun.
Great. Question about mental toughness. So what do you think about before and especially like during a TTR race? What's going on in your brain?
Well, I'd like to say I have a mental checklist of everything here, but like I just said, I sometimes forget things, but I just try to make it simple. I have set things, I put my shoes in the same spot, I have my spray in the same area, I have, you know, everything has a place, it has a system, it has a time frame, and I basically start the clock counting backwards to my start time, so there's never any thinking involved. I don't want anything to challenge the situation extra. You know, it's stressful enough, the event that you're doing, and so if you don't have to think about it, then that's much less stress, and then you can put all your energy into racing hard.
That's great. So a question from one of the writers. I have a power meter. Can you estimate what your average wattage would have been if you'd been racing the TT today?
Well, today I'm kind of in the trough of my mid-season fitness. So.
Yes, we had to say that this, and I'm going to interrupt you for a quick. So Mindy's actually, this is a two-week recovery period for her, where she is not racing, not doing anything. And so, but it is, I mean, just to take some time off is so necessary. But if you were to race, what would your average wattage have been?
Probably about 205, 210.
Okay, great. Who or what inspires you?
You know, I think anyone who, I don't know, you know, I think I'm constantly being inspired. I'm a nurse, as probably most of you know. I get inspired by my patients who overcome multiple things, but mostly I'm inspired by people who just go out and do what they need to do to keep themselves healthy. And so if that's just eating right, or going for a 20-minute walk, or going for your first bike race that's 10 miles, whatever that may be, that's inspirational on a daily basis.
Great. Just one other question about eating. Can you give us an idea of what a normal day of eating would be for you versus what you eat before a race?
Yeah, I pretty much keep it the same. I don't want to surprise my body with something different on a race day, so I pretty much eat pretty much consistent throughout the year. I get a little bit more lean with my calories in the early season just to lean up a bit, but I pretty much follow a Mediterranean type diet. I'm not vegetarian. I've tried that before. My body doesn't like it. I was born eating meat. I continue to eat meat daily. So that works for me. There's a couple of item breakfasts that I eat pretty much every day. I'm a creature of habit. I don't need something different, and it seems to work.
Great. Well, I know that there's racers here that kind of want to get onto the awards ceremony, and I'll just open it up if there's anybody have a particular question for Mindy. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and move on. I know it's hot and people are tired. They want to get going, so I want to thank you and Matt for coming out and having everything out here and encouraging everybody, and for everybody to come out and do the TTs and know that it's all possible. If you need some training, if you have some questions, you can certainly contact us. What I love seeing is we've got Spokettes, we've got Sports Systems, we've got, I know I'm leaving people out, but there's a group of, there's lots of training groups, and it doesn't all have to be cycling clubs that you get your experience from, but you can't do without knowledge. So keep on going with that, and thank you, Mindy. It's been awesome. Appreciate it.